Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys our next Draft League Twitter discussion. Today we have a pretty fun question. It's a question I did a while ago in the past, probably about a year and beyond a year actually at this point. Who knows? But it's a really fun one, and asking if you could give any Pokemon an existing Mega Evolution, what would it be? Typing stats and abilities get you bonus points. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy these Twitter discussion videos, please be sure to drop a like and sub to the channel. If you have any ideas for future questions, definitely let me know in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll jump on to this question. And definitely feel to check me out on Twitter. I have another question going right now, which is basically asking which Pokemon do you draft and have a ton of success with that you don't see other people draft a lot, and why do you have success with it? So that one's been getting a ridiculous amount of sponsors, but we had some pretty fun ones on this one too. And yeah, we'll go and theorize. Now, if there is any art or artist in the thumbnail, they'll also be linked in the description below if I find any like fan art of any of these megas or anything like that. And I also want to mention, shout out GPL, which is a draft league that just started their season. So unfortunately, I didn't get this video out before their applications ended. But they make their own custom megas, and they have a pretty long-standing league going there. They run things really well. I've played in it before. They make some cool stuff, and I may grab one of theirs from the thumbnail. So if I know that for sure, I'll definitely. If I do end up doing so, I'll link their Discord server in the description below. If you want to go watch their season, check out their Showdown client and play with their custom megas and things like that. Because I think stuff like that's a lot of fun. I love Mega Evolution. I think it's the best gimmick that Pokemon ever introduced. And I hope they bring them back to an extent, or at least let us use them in game on Wi-Fi again, which would be a lot of fun. All right, cool. With that being said, let's jump into it. First up, we have Aaron12 saying Mega Kricketune. Let's see if I can get these for you. So it looks like I can't, but I can read off the stats. Actually, what I could do is I could just move this down a little bit, and you guys can probably see what it's like that. Perfect. So we have Mega Kricketune with Bug and Fighting as its stab combination, or as its typing with Tough Claws, buffing it to 135 attack, a little bit more defense and Spadef, and then a lot more speed, making it definitely usable. I think Bug Fighting is a great typing, and I think it would be cool to see a Pokemon like Kricketune get a Mega Evolution in general. My only fear is that, does this make Kricketune good per se? Not necessarily. There are a lot of other megas that just have superior stats. I think it's just a product of Kricketune having such low base stat total, but it's always cool to see, if a Pokemon were to get a mega, making them just a little bit more viable makes it all the more worth to me. So maybe we get a little bit of play or something like that, maybe be a little bit better. But this is definitely an interesting idea here from Aaron. I don't know if this thing would be meta defining or anything like crazy, but it could definitely be fun. Okay, next up we have Megatropius from Nana here saying, I would give it an ability that every other turn it sets a wish like ability into effect, healing whatever Pokemon is on the field for 25% of Megatropius max HP. Call it Banana Plantation. Might make it grass water too. It'd be an insane Leech Seed Mon. That'd be pretty cool, especially if you make it really bulky, or you give it a decent amount of speed to where it can guarantee get those. I guess it's not even getting a wish up, it's just via existing. So Leech plus Protect plus 25% every single turn is pretty nuts, honestly. Or even passing a Leech error 25%, or just guaranteed having that 25% up in the air as you switch out is really, really insane. And I think that could be a lot of fun. Megatropius in general is just a pretty terrible Pokemon, and it'd be cool to see it get a little bit more love. Next up, we have Muscle Tussle saying Hydragon, 105 speed, 135 in physical and special attack. Now, what is Hydragon's base special attack right now? So it's 125, so it'd be at least a buff, and then you get 20 buff to your attack, making it a little more mixed. Ability, every time it gets hit by an attack, its attack and special attack get raised by a stage. Like in Mythology, when you cut a head off to grow it back, it gets stronger the more damage it takes. That's a really cool idea because it makes sense thematically. And it would make this thing pretty nasty. 105 as a speed tier is also amazing. I was basing the 100s, I was basing like Garchomp and things like that, which is really, really nice, especially for a dragon. And with Hydragon's natural bulk, even if it kept the same bulk as it has right now, it doesn't need to, go up, gain any more bulk on top of that. And I'm sure it would, because I don't even think 10, 20, and 7. I don't think that equals the exact base stat total that you get from the boost. So maybe it'd get a little bit of more bulk and things like that on top of that, which would make this thing pretty darn insane. It can boost speed with Dragon Dance as well. It can nasty plot, so you can do all the things Hydragon does. But it can do that alongside, kind of boosting up on its own. Next up, we have Rio here with a couple of really fun ones, and Grumpig with Psychic Poison, Psychic Surge's ability, 80 HP, 60 attack, 90 defense, 110 special attack, 140 SPDF, and 80 speed. That would be pretty cool, but I wonder what the ability of a Mega Grumpig would be. It doesn't look like he specified, so maybe you just do the same. It could be either Thick Fat, Blood in your own tail. So it would definitely be Thick Fat would be the best idea there. It would make it a pretty decent SPDF ball. Now again, not going to break the Pokemon. Does it get any good poison coverage though? Like I get it thematically, but the only poison moves that it actually gets are Belch and Toxic via Ulgen. So maybe if you give it like Sludge Bomb or something like that. Psychic Poison in general is really tough to switch into. That maybe you give it like a Focus Blast or something like that. Let me check. Does it get Focus Blast? It does get Focus Blast. So you can like Focus Blast do things too with Psychic Poison. That could be pretty cool. Make it a big fatty SPDF wall. Maybe have a way of healing itself or something like that. Sorry. I'm recording this late at night as I usually do. Next up we have Shiftry with just kidding. There we go. Next up we have Shiftry with Grass Dark Adaptability, 90 HP, 110 attack, 80 defense, 110 special attack, 80 SPDF, and 110 speed. Which is pretty cool. Adaptability boosted Sucker Punches and Leaf Storms and things like that. I think it could be a really solid mix attacker. It can Sword Stance, it can Nasty Plot. So there's a bunch of fun options right there. Which could definitely be nice. It also gets Heat Wave and like Air Slash and Hurricane, which are just niche coverage options. Again, another low tier Mega, but I think that's fine. I don't think every Mega needs to be a top tier meta defining threat. I think that's definitely a really cool idea with the Shiftry there. I'm glad that adaptability kind of gives me a little bit better of an idea of what you're going for with that one. This next one, I remember reading this one ahead of time, sorry. But this one's really cool here from Aquarius, and she says, I want to see more weather megas. One idea has been this Mega Golem, who would break out of its boulder and become fast as Sand Rush. Its stats, it would gain 45 attack, lose 30 defense, which I think is really cool, gain 20 special attack, and gain 65 speed. With the Sand SPDF boost, it would seem pretty nice if it's still balanced. I think that would be really cool. I would love to see more sand abusing, more rain abusing, more sun abusing mons. Maybe sand is the one that's... No, rain's definitely the one that's best to well off with like Swift Swim mons and things like that. Sand's probably second best, but something like Mega Golem would be really cool because it's actually a Pokemon I really like. I actually love Alolan Golem. Not competitively, just like as a design. I think the mon is really funny, and I definitely really like it. I use it on my Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu team, so maybe that's why I got a soft spot for it. But I would love to see them be good, and I think this could be a really, really cool option for it. And yeah, I guess it depends on if you're regular Golem or Mega Golem, like what you would beat. Dude, imagine if, what do you call it? Alolan Golem could potentially, get this with like its Stab Electric plus Rock. That would be a really unique Sand Sweeper, which I think is really cool. But regular Golem would be awesome as well. Just Edgequake is pretty much undefeated, not much switches into that, and base 155 attack is really strong. Base 110 speed, even outside of Sand, you're very fast. So inside of Sand, there's nothing outspeeding you, which is awesome. So, man, I'm gonna have to get over this this yawning right here. The next up, we have Ian, aka Endless Gadget, saying there's two I really want to have. The first is Mega Reuniclus, which would be Psychic Electric with an Auto Trick Room ability. No, I don't give a fuck about VGC. Second is Mega Dusknoir, which would be Ghost Rush fighting with a large attack boost and an ability that makes Focus Punch not flinch. This is a pretty cool idea. Now, with Reuniclus, I am confused as to whether you give it T-Bolt too. I think it only gets like Thunder and it maybe gets Shockwave or something like that. But yeah, I'm confused on whether or not you would potentially give it, like T-Bolt and things like that. But in general, I think Psychic Electric's a pretty cool idea, and Auto Trick Room is a really interesting idea on its own. Like, that's a very interesting idea, because in singles, it makes it much better and much easier to play with and play around. In doubles, though, like, I think you acknowledge it, even though you said you don't care about them. That would be incredibly broken. Ridiculously broken, unfortunately. So I don't think we'll ever make like an Auto Trick Room ability, an Auto Tailwind ability, because Game Freak's main concern is going to be, VGC, unfortunately. So I don't think they would do that, but it would be very cool. Mega Dusknoir would also be a cool option. Ghost Fighting, as those of you who have ever played Uber's Draft League or just Ubers in general know, Ghost Fighting is impossible to switch into. it's just legit impossible to switch it into. So giving that to Mega Dusknoir would give it a really good offensive niche. Also get a Shadow Sneak for priority. It's still probably be pretty slow. It looks like Fran actually made like a what do you call it? Gave it a little stat spread, which is really cool. But yeah, base 150 attack, so it did end up getting that. And threw off big focus punches that couldn't be stopped with how strong that move is, on top of it throwing off Poltergeist and Shadow Sneaks and Elemental Punch and things like that. This thing would be a tank. This thing would be an absolute monster to potentially deal with. So I actually really like that. He also says it's an ability that also allows you to use Phantom Force in one turn. I don't think it gets Phantom Force. I think other people talked about that in the replies. I could be totally wrong, but why not give him Phantom Force either? We're already making fake Megas. Might as well give him cool moves and things like that, which I think would be dope. But yeah, let's go and jump on. Next up, we got Soul Blaze saying this is Gigantamax fan art I saw a while back, and I would love to see it as a smaller Mega Evolution. We have Grass Ground Torterra, G-Max Torterra, I guess Mega Torterra in this instance. Ability of Water Bubble. Stats is 100 HP, 109 attack, 109 special attack, 150 defense, and 95 special defense with 25 speed. Very interesting concept. He's like a planet now. He is no longer like a continent. He is a full planet with mini ores in rotation. So I think you would have to kind of like dumb this design down a little bit. Maybe just give it a big volcano. I don't know. I think this would definitely be very interesting. Water Bubble is a cool ability defensively, but it doesn't necessarily help you offensively unless you gave this thing Liquidation. That'd be kind of cool coverage, I suppose. But the main thing is it's going to make it to where instead of being a fire weakness, you're neutral to fire. Just, you know, do your grass typing and water bubbling, kind of canceling each other out, as well as the ability to not be burned is really clutch potentially as well on, you know, a physical, most of the time physical attacker like Torterra here. Next up, we have Trexo saying Staraptor, keep Reckless, change it to Fighting Flying, and give it access to High Jump Kick. You give it 20 attack, 30 speed, and 25 in its defenses. The idea is that it will be able to spam Double Edge and Brave Bird until it megas, and once it does, High Jump Kick replaces Edge, while still keeping the 4th move slot for U-turn / Roost. I think that would be ridiculously hard to play around. The typing change of normal flying into fighting flying is ridiculous, especially when you consider what you're checking regular Staraptor with, your fat steels and your fat rocks and so that can take like non-stab close combats, or I guess high jump kick in this range. But you know, it megas up and it throws off, you know, reckless boosted high jump kicks. I don't know how you necessarily deal with that, plus Brave Bird and Double Edge and U-turn for momentum and things like that. This thing would be pretty damn cool, especially with plus 30 speed. It would actually, you know, outpace a good majority of the metagame. I believe at base 130 speed, unless I'm tripping on whatever Staraptor's base speed is. I think it's 100, but I think that'd be really cool. So I actually like this suggestion a lot from Trexo. I think it would, you know, play a lot of mind games and really make people think on their toes when playing against this or using this. And I think it would work especially well in non-first turn Mega Leagues, which is what they most are. Most of them are at this point, so I don't think that's too crazy. Next up, we have Jesse504 saying Mega Huntail, 38 speed, 32 attack, and 15 defense and speed def. Either keep Swift Swim ability or give it like Strong Jaw. That'd be cool. That or Intimidate would be really cool on Mega Huntail. Like, if it turns into like a Water Dark type. I know a lot of places turn it into Water Dark. I think that could be really cool. The speed is definitely very much so needed. What is Huntail's base speed? I guess we can probably check that out, right? Let's see. Huntail. It is base 52, so giving it 38 speed is incredibly clutch, actually. Giving it to base 90, which is really nice. 32 attack would get it to, like, what, 136, which is a really weird number that JV wants to have. And then the 15 special is going to allow, in defense, is going to allow more setup opportunities. It's actually going to give it base 120 defense, which is really insane that this thing has base 105 defense already. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely pretty cool. Next up, we have Fran saying Mega Graphblock Water Fighting with Technician, basically giving it a lot of attack, a little bit of special attack, and a ton of speed, and saying give it Surging Strikes to make up for its lackluster stats, and since it has tentacles, which is actually fair. And I tell you right now, Technician boosted Surging Strikes, Technician boosted Fighting Moves, Technician boosted Aqua Jets and things like that. Also becoming Stab because Graphblock is finally a Water type in this instance, which it really should be in general, in my opinion, make this thing pretty darn terrifying to deal with. I think this is actually a really cool concept. Maybe some people are like, we already have Surging Strikes, Water Fighting type, but like, who cares? I think this is a really cool idea from Fran. And I actually really like Graphblock's design. I think it's a cool Pokemon. I think it's pretty underutilized, and it would be cool to see it, you know, get a little bit of love in like a Mega form or something like that. So I could definitely get behind this from Fran. Alright, let's jump back into it. Owen, but a little bit more awake. I apologize, like, the first part of this video, I was really tired. I was just trying to power through and record it before bed so I could have it up today at a normal time, or the next day at a normal time, but it just wasn't happening. I was exhausted. So, we're jumping back into it, though. We got Zeke here next with Golurk. Maybe a fan favorite, or a favorite of his, but we have Mega Golurk X Ground and Ghost with Compactor's ability. It gets a ton of attack, loses a ton of bulk, but also gains a ton of speed and special attack. And it says Compactor. Every time this Pokemon defeats an opponent, its speed is raised by 1 stage. That's a really cool idea, actually. It's like Moxie or Grimnay, I guess, from the special side, but for speed. And I think that's really cool. It's not necessarily as broken as, you know, something like Speed Boost, but it really makes you kind of play around this thing carefully. And it kind of like takes away the ability to just like sack things for free in order to get in other big threats and things like that. So I think that's actually a really cool idea for an ability. I liked it a lot. I haven't seen something like that before. Then next up we have Mega Golurk Y, which says Steel and Ghost with Fortify. And this thing again gains a ton of attack. Gains a ton of attack, but its ability is Fortify, and it's a little bit more bulky. It stays the same speed, doesn't get any special attacks, so really fat. And Steel and Ghost is obviously an amazing defensive typing if you've seen Aegislash before. It has you know, comparable bulk to Aegislash, and it says Fortify. When hit by a physical attack, this Pokemon's defense stat is raised by 1 stage, and when hit by a special attack, its special defense. That's cool. So it's like stamina, but depending on what you get hit by. That's really cool. Especially with a crazy defensive typing like that, I feel like being like rest talk on a mon like this would be really annoying for a lot of teams to deal with. And then Steel Ghost plus, like, you know, its previous ground coverage is really solid as well. So I said I'm not tired anymore, but then I yawn immediately. That's a really cool idea for an ability, or for Golurk, and I like that it's Mega Golurk X and Y. You know, it's not necessarily what do you call it, a broken mon, but it's not necessarily a mon I would have thought would get 2 megas. But that's pretty funny. Next up we have Sceptile Scythe, and who would have thunk it? He has Slowking Galar with God King height ability, Distant Future, HP 115, its attack is low, really high special attack and special defense, a good defense, and then same speed. Ability description, still has Regenerator, but clicking Future Sight now has a negative priority and acts as a pivot move. Had to compensate for losing an item slot in some way. I guess the idea is, like, you know, you're still bulky, you're still getting your regen, so you still have the best ability in the game, but if you click Future Sight, it's like teleport while throwing a Future Sight in the air. And actually, that combination would be legitimately deadly with proper offensive Pokemon to back it up. So, you know, if we want to make up for it not being able to run AV, Resist Berry, whatever, there's G-King. Pretty cool here from Sceptile Scythe, and of course he's always going to answer G-King, or it wouldn't be Sceptile Scythe, right? Next up, we have Sharpedo for Predator saying Mega Lantern, change Voltazor to Lightning Rod, so maybe get some use in VGC. And then it gets a bunch of defense, special defense, and a little bit of special attack. It would still be slow, get much better bulk to work with, and be an efficient wall while hitting a bit harder. This is cool. I also played in GPO, which, like I talked about in the beginning of the video, the season that I won, the first season that I ever played there, I won my division, and they have a Mega Lantern in theirs. And it was an amazing Pokemon. I don't know if they've changed it or balanced or anything like that since then. But I drafted Mega Lantern Rain because it had an ability called, like, Thunderstorm or something like that, Lightning Storm, to where it set the rain and electric terrain all in one. And I think it was a little bit balanced in the sense that you can't really run Damp Rock, but that on top of Volt Switch pivoting and throwing off big thunders, 100% accurate at getting really ridiculous bulk, having 2 immunities pre-Mega, was really cool. That one was awesome, and it carried me to a championship with a really fun rain team. So that's pretty cool. Next up, we have a Net Bandit saying give some underappreciated mons like Tropius, make it Grass Dragon, and give it a boost in speed and special attack with a Sheer Force. That's pretty cool. We saw a little bit more of a defensive Mega Tropius response earlier, but Net Bandit wants a more offensive approach to it, which is definitely pretty dope. Next up, we have Seth saying, I got a couple. Mega Tauros keeps its normal and possibly, and gets a possible second ability, not sure. Wait. A second. I think he means second typing. Sheer Force upon Mega. That'd be cool. Just maybe faster and stronger. And then we have Mega Stoutland. Normal Steel gets Filter. That's pretty cool. And Mega Wigglytuff. Normal / Fairy. Don't know ability, but basically what Mega Audino should have been. Well, if it's what Mega Audino should have been, we should give it Regen, because that's what that mon should have. And I've played a lot of Radical Red in my day. I've even played Radical Red Draft League and stuff like that. And Mega Audino goes from like a bottom tier mecha to a top tier mega when keeping Regenerator. It's actually pretty insane how good that Pokemon becomes. And then he said 2 more, Arbok and Seviper, Poison Dark for 1, and the other one gets a second type to differentiate themselves from each other. One gets Sheer Force, and another gets Strong Jaw. I'm here for that. I'd say like maybe Strong Jaw for Arbok, because it has a lot of biting moves, and then Sheer Force for Seviper, and making it like a good mix attack could be pretty darn cool, because it actually has great coverage on both sides. Like it gets like flamethrower, like it has Gym 1 coverage. It's really weird. I actually don't know Arbok's special coverage, but I feel like the biting motif kind of fits it a little bit more. Next up, we have Reggie YouTube saying, give Typhlosion some love. This would be pretty cool. I've seen a lot of Mega Typhlosion iterations and ideas. I remember in Pokemon Insurgence, there was a really cool Mega Typhlosion. I believe it had special Moxie, which is a really cool idea. And I agree. I feel like Typhlosion should get a little bit of something. Maybe a way to deal with waters a little bit better. And maybe something to kind of boost up that terrible speed tier that it has. Give it a little bit more oomph. Maybe something to incentivize eruption, and is obviously balanced by it not being able to run boots and having to keep rocks away and things like that. But I think that's really cool. I like Mega Typhlosion. They kind of sucked. My bad. Okay, bottom tier themed pairings could use them like Illumise and Volbeat, Solrock, and Lunatone, etc. Just in my opinion. Just make all of these more aggressive, may give the rocks a less drastic weakness policy kind of ability since their typing is weak to so much. Makes rocks on polish that's cool as fuck. That's pretty darn cool. Now I know GPL also did like Mega Lunatone and Soul Rock variations. I think they actually did 2 different of them, and I think it's pretty cool. I know like one of them gets like Desolate Land, like one of the Soul Rock evolutions get like Desolate Land or something like that. But I actually really like the idea of maybe like +1/+1 if you're hit by a super effective move, and then rock polishing up. That would be pretty nuts, especially because it really takes advantage of like passive knockoffs and things like that if you give them decent enough bulk. Potentially being able to come in on those things and Mega Evolve and Rock Polish up and go for game and do some damage, which would be cool. Maybe give Lunatone something to where like Meteor Beam isn't a charge move and like it can just automatically attack with it. That would be really cool. Bug has an easy new typing in Bug/Electric and Bug/Fire. Maybe they could get a new 8 ability like Pixelate for their new type since those 2 are cool. I think he's talking about Illumise and Volbeat. And he says Vespiquen is also deserving because they literally give it 2 signature moves and it still sucks ass. That'd be fair. I think it'd be cool. Maybe give it an ability that like gives it a ton of bulk because the thing is really decently fat, but give it a ton more bulk and maybe just make it immune to like entry hazards or something like that. Or maybe even just give it Magic Guard. That would be pretty cool. I like Magic Guard Mega Vespiquen. That'd be cool. Now, like thematically doesn't make sense, but like you could just make Magic Guard but give it a different name so it would be more thematically fitting. Next up we have Mega Cradilly, which is another cool one. And he says it's just one of his favorite mons overall. It could use an ability that powers up all of its HP brain moves like Giga Drain and Leech Seed by 50%, similar to Mega Launcher or like a Big Root or something like that. Moves defenses and special attack on Evo. That's pretty cool, especially pre-Mega. You have that that water immunity, which is really cool. And again, you power up that those moves in which like it like gains health back and stuff like that. That could be pretty darn cool. I think it needs special rock coverage. Maybe give it Power Gem too. I think that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, I'm here for it. Next up we have Mega Conkeldurr, which is very interesting because I feel like Conk on its own is already so good. I wonder what you could do to Mega Conk to make it like better and differentiate itself, because like I feel like Guts Conk is just so strong. So I wonder what you could do to make Mega Conk better. If you guys have any ideas for Mega Conk, I'd love for you to elaborate in the comments. That'd be pretty cool. Next up, we have Walt saying, I love, this one's a little busted, but I'd love to see Mega Huntail with Simple or Mega Kingler with Water Bubble. More Mega Huntail love here from Walt. I'm sure Jesse will love this one too. I think he actually already suggested it up there. Simple would be way too broken probably, but I like the idea we suggested earlier with like Intimidate or Strongjaw or something. Just making it faster and stronger, especially faster because it's very slow. And then Mega Kingler with Water Bubble is really cool. Now again, harping back to Radical Red, they have Mega Kingler. They gave like a lot of the G-Max Pokemon Mega Forms and things like that, and they have Mega Kingler, and it's Water Steel, and it has Tough Claws with like Meteor Mash and Liquidation and Flip Turn and things like that. And that mon is a demon to deal with a ton of speed and a really good physically defensive typing, and Water Steel makes sense for like the crab type Pokemon. So I think that would be really cool. Water Bubble is also really nuts if you think about it with Mega Kingler, because then liquidations and things like that become ridiculously free, and you don't have to worry about being burned anymore, which I think is really clutch. And it gives you really strong fire resist. So that's pretty cool. It's only when I sit down to record I start yawning every 3 seconds. Next up we have Jameson saying, Mega Meganium, Typhlosion, and for Alligator, Johto starters need some love. I'd make Meganium Grass Dragon to play into the dinosaur motif. And might just keep Typhlosion as fire, and for Alligator could be Water Dark as it learns Bite and Crunch. That would be pretty cool. I don't think they would do Grass Dragon for it, like somebody under Woomy does it right there. I think Grass Fairy makes a lot of sense. I've seen a ton of games turn Meganium into a Fairy type. And again, back to Radical Red, I think that it could be really cool if they give it Triage like it has in that game. Now, it doesn't have a Mega in that game, but Triage with Grass and Fairy with Draining Kiss and then like the Reflect and Light Screen and all that stuff, I think it has some pretty nasty defensive utility, which I think is really, really cool. I would love to see Mega Meganium. And for Alligator, I think that'd be cool. Maybe just give it Tough Claws. Maybe just let it keep Sheer Force, something like that, just to boost those attacks. And I think that could be really, really awesome. That thing could be super sick. For Alligator, it's one of my favorite starters ever. I think it's super dope. And I'd love to see it become a little bit more viable. Alright, we have a couple more. We have Anthony saying Mega Dunsparce with normal Protein Lessons ability, it getting pretty ridiculous stats. I think it would be funny, right, to see like Mega Dunsparce exist. It finally gets that, that evolution, quote unquote. And it just becomes really insane with 110 attack, 105 speed, and then 75, 80 in bulk, as well as like 100 HP with Roost and Glare and the coverage that it has. I think that could be pretty nuts. And now I think it still needs a little bit better coverage for Brody to, put in the most work. But I think it's really cool. Goodness, Owen, we are almost there, brother. Just keep it going. All right, next up we have Rose here saying Mega Excadrill Ground Steel Steely Spirit with 118 speed, 145 attack. And it gets a lot of SPDF in defense, which I think is awesome. And I think in particular that's really, really cool because I always struggle with drafting Excadrill outside of Sand teams, because I feel like it really just does lack in that bulky steel category. Whereas, with this bulk, with 110, 90, 95, that's really bulky. It also gives you plenty of free Swords Dance opportunities. Let's see Swords Dance and Rapid Spin, and then you just Iron Head and Earthquake through everything. And Steel Spirit Iron Heads, backed up by Stab Earthquakes in the back for the things that resist steel, is really terrifying, to be completely honest. So I think that's definitely very, very cool. But, yeah, I think that's all of them. We might have a couple in the quote retweets. No, we don't. That's just me plugging it. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think. What Mega Pokemon you would love to see. If you could give any Pokemon a Mega Evolution, let me know which one you'd want to see. If there was a really cool one here, be sure to let me know in the comments below. And yeah, go ahead and comment on. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter so you can be a part of these conversations each and every week. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Drop some suggestions as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.